I'm right here on WG Sports Radio. I'm Nick Durst, and this week we have the NFL Draft, and we're going to have our NFL Draft expert, Michael Rochman, on in a few minutes here. But first, bring in the co-host, Joe Calabrese. Joe, the draft is going to have ridiculous ratings this year, and basically you're going to be just seeing people with crappy internet connections over Skype or whatnot. But are you pumped up or what? And what are you looking for? What are you thinking ratings-wise the draft's going to get this year?
Well, nobody's got anything else to do, so everybody's going to be watching the draft. That's going to be great for the NFL.
Absolutely. All right, so without further ado, welcome to the program, WG Sports Draft expert, and he is Michael Rochman. Michael, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me. I always say draft season is year-round for me, but whenever we get closer to the official event, it's very exciting.
Michael Rochman, always doing mock drafts. Did you do a 7-round mock this year, or was it too hard?
I'm just starting on it now. I've been working on this project doing profiles for like my top 10 in the position, so just been working on that right now, and then I'll start on my 7-round mock and get it posted pretty soon.
So make sure you're refreshing WGSports.com all week, because Michael's going to give you all the draft details. Nobody better in the business than Michael. So Michael, let's start right here with we're going to do your first round mock, and we'll also get to your top 5 QBs. But we'll start off right now. The Bengals, they're on the clock. I'm pretty sure they already know what they're doing. Who do you have them drafting, and what can you tell us about this player?
Well, in the official mock draft that the NFL hosted, the Bengals picked Trey Adams, but I think they're going to shock the world, go with Joe Burrow with the first pick. Dominant season at LSU, arguably one of the best college football seasons we've seen. I'd say probably only comparable to years that we saw from Tim Tebow and Cam Newton. So bringing in a guy like this is revolutionary to a franchise, and there's probably very few franchises that need it more than the Bengals.
And Joe Burrow, I know you're really big on him, big college football guy. I told you my college football prediction was that either way, in the championship game, the Tigers are going to win. So I was right. But Joe Burrow, what was your impression on just his bravado, and how do you think his demeanor is going to fit in with the NFL?
I think he's a great fit for the Bengals in particular. I agree. I believe his season this year was comparable to guys like Tebow and Cam Newton in years past. Now, in terms as a prospect, he's probably not the best. Probably doesn't have the greatest arm strength, but his ability to make plays out of nothing and the intangibles he brings as a leader are two ingredients that franchise desperately needs. So overall, I just think it's a great fit. He's not the best player who's ever going to go number one, but for the Bengals for this year, for what they need, it's a great fit.
And you can't ask for a better backup than Andy Dalton.
And I think one thing that's very important to note is you have guys like Mahomes who win with arm talent that we've never seen before, and we have guys like Lamar Jackson who extend plays, both scrambling out of the pocket, rolling out to pass, or running upfield. I think what makes Burrow so special is his ability to manage the pocket. I mean, in terms of comfort in pressure and being able to move around the pocket and make throws without even like an ounce of panic in him, I mean, that's traits that you don't even see out of some of the best QBs in the league right now. So I do believe that he has a very good chance of being special based on that alone.
All right, moving on. The number 2 pick is the Redskins, and who do you have them taking here?
I think Washington's got to go Chase Young. For me, if I were picking, it would be between Chase Young and Jeffrey Okudah. I know there's rumors of Tua Tagovailoa being the pick, but I think Young has to be the guy they go with. Revamp this entire front seven, makes this Chase Young, Montez Sweat, Ryan Kerrigan off the edge. You're going to be bringing a lot of pressure to a very good quarterback league in the NFC East.
If Dwayne Haskins was in this draft, would he be a first-round pick?
I believe so. When you're looking at it in terms of prospects, I think Haskins offered a lot of upside. And to end the season, he looked pretty solid. Obviously, there's some issues developing into the role, but I think he's shown enough promise that the Redskins should be confident in him going forward.
And Joe, would you, if you were the Redskins here, would you do it? Would you consider taking Tua Tagovailoa as the number 2 pick and getting rid of Dwayne Haskins?
I would consider it. The problem is that the relationship between the Redskins and Trent Williams is probably irreparable. I don't want to take a quarterback for a second straight year with the questions that team has on offensive line. I think Chase Young is a better pick, and I think there's that we're just including guys like Jonathan Allen and Deron Payne up front. The Redskins' defensive line would arguably be the best in the NFC East going into next season, and there would be a lot of comparisons to what the Philadelphia Eagles were able to do a couple ago, where they were just able to accumulate so much talent on the defensive line that in the end they were able to win out and beat teams simply by being able to rotate and having guys who could pressure and collapse it.
So Michael, a lot of people are saying Chase Young's like the most can't-miss defensive, edge rusher prospect in like over 15 years. Do you agree? Are you that high in him, or is it kind of like he was good in college, but we kind of have to wait and see for the pros?
I think Young is a great edge rusher. I don't think I'm as high as him on him as the rest of the national media. I think there are still some limitations to his game. He's very well-rounded. He's good in the run defense. He's good as a pass rusher. But he doesn't offer the same bend as some of the elite rushers of the league. And I think that will hurt him a little bit. And he sometimes has an issue in over-pursuit. I think he's still a very good edge rusher, and Washington will be very happy to have him. But I wouldn't say he's up there in my rankings compared to guys like Myles Garrett.
Absolutely. All right. Moving on, number 3, Lions on the board. You mentioned this guy earlier. I know you're pretty high on him, but who do you have the Lions taking?
Got to go with Jeffrey Okudah. You just traded away Slay. Desmond Trufant is a solid cornerback, but he's probably not the guy you want as your number 1. Okudah is probably one of the most technically sound cornerback prospects we've seen in a very long time. He doesn't offer the same crazy athletic upside as some of the other corners, but he does offer arguably some of the most shutdown ability. He has very long arms, plays the ball extremely well. I have never been higher on a cornerback prospect since I started really getting into this in about 2016, and that's Jeffrey Okudah. That's the man. He reminds me of Stephon Gilmore.
Joe, I always get really gun-shy with these Ohio State players, especially cornerbacks. I was a giant fan of massive flashbacks to Eli Apple just getting absolutely torched. Are you afraid of these Ohio State cornerbacks, or what are your thoughts on the whole situation there?
Well, I definitely think there's some element of hit or miss to them. I think some of them, Eli Apple have not really necessarily fulfilled or made good on their potential as some other guys. But then there are other players like Marshawn Lynch and Denzel Ward who've been pretty good too, right? So my thunder was kind of stolen a little bit at the end because I was going to Okudah and the fit to the Lions to Gilmore and the Patriots, because you got to remember Matt Patricia is still there, right, for the time being, and he's aware that he needs a young, technically sound corner, kind of like what Stephon Gilmore is for the Patriots and Belichick's defense, right? So I think it's a good fit, and I think the only other direction you can really see the Lions going in is to go Viola. That's if they want to move on from Matt Stafford. But I like the fit. I think it's a great fit, and like Michael was saying, the fact that Darius Slay got traded also plays into this pick too. They're going to need a corner.
This is going to be a big spot here, and the next pick too. As far as if there's going to be a trade up for a quarterback, it's going to either go 3 or 4 most likely, because you would think these teams might be okay quarterback for now. But moving on to number 4, the New York Giants. They have a lot of needs: offensive line, defense, just a lot of needs. And Joe Judge, he's hoping to get a good player here. So, Michael, who do you have the Giants taking up for?
So, in the mock itself, I have them picking Andrew Thomas. Based on reports, it seems like they're torn between Wirfs and Andrew Thomas at this number 4 pick. But at the same time, every year this happens where we start to get a chalk top 5, and everyone's just saying, "Oh, the Giants pick offensive tackle at 4," and then we just keep moving on. But the fact is, Gettleman has not spent a first-round pick on an offensive tackle in his time as a GM. And we really do not know what this pick is going to be. It could be someone like an Isaiah Simmons. It could be someone like a C.J. Henderson or Okuda if he were to fall. Because while you have DeAndre Baker and you just spent money on James Bradbury, if you have a guy that you view as a cornerback one for the future, I don't see why the Giants don't take it. But in this mock, I go Andrew Thomas. He's my offensive tackle number one. I think he's extremely reliable, extremely dependable. He doesn't offer the same athletic upside as some of the other guys, but he gets the job done every single game. And I just think this guy is the safest offensive tackle prospect, and I think he's my number one prospect in the entire class.
Wow. I mean, Gettleman, he loves his cornerbacks. He loves his defensive linemen. He doesn't like linebackers. He doesn't really like offensive linemen. So a lot of other mocks out there, we don't really listen to them, but they have Isaiah Simmons going here. Giants have needed to draft a linebacker in the first round for about 15 years now. Never happened. They obviously need a tackle here. Nate Solder getting older here. Offensive line is a total disaster. They need to be able to have Barkley run the ball more. But, I wouldn't be surprised if they're taking a quarterback or if they just go crazy and they're like, you know what, we'll take a defensive lineman here, maybe Kinlaw or something like that, or Brown, because they love their defensive linemen, but for some reason they're going to be playing a 3-4 again this year, which has never worked out with their personnel. But, Joe, where do you think the Giants' head should be at when it comes to making this pick?
I think it's going to come down to two guys. I think it will come down to either an Andrew Isaiah Simmons. Now, this all depends on what Joe Judge wants to do, but if I'm the Giants, right, and I'm looking to accumulate talent on the defensive side, then to draft like him in the player in the draft, the most versatile player in the draft, and it goes on that too because Isaiah Simmons can play three positions. He could play safety, he could play linebacker, he could play off the edge if need be on the weak side. So that versatility is really hard to up. And the fact that he ran as fast as he did at the combine basically put him on like everybody's radar. Now everybody knows like, okay, not only like deliver on the field, but like his measurables off the field are off the charts. Like it, like the teams that pass up on him, it's going to be so hard to look back and say like, oh, it depends on what Joe wants to do. If they want to take a tackle to protect him, pick.
Yeah, I don't really know if Joe Judge is going to have much say. I think Dave Gettleman's going to just do whatever he wants, like he usually does. But we'll see. So the next two picks, give us them back-to-back, Michael, because we know they're both going to be quarterbacks. It's just a matter of who's going 5, who's going 6.
So for the Miami Dolphins, I decided to go with Tua Tagovailoa. There's been a lot of smoke that has been coming out recently that said, oh, the medicals are too bad, no chance. But I do think that part of this is the Dolphins trying to play it so they don't have to trade up. I think they really want to keep their picks, want to bring in as much talent as they can to a roster that arguably may need it more than most other rosters in the league. And the Dolphins are looking to establish a future in this franchise. Since last year, Adam Schefter has been reporting that Tua Tagovailoa was the Miami Dolphins guy. While medicals definitely can deter that, I don't think it's going to happen here. And I think the Dolphins end up getting the guy they've been talked with for a whole year.
So then the Chargers, I'm guessing you have them taking Justin Herbert.
Yeah, the Chargers go Herbert. And what's interesting is today there's been some rumors that the Giants are interested in Herbert and are doing their due diligence because since last year, that also has been reported that the Giants were in love with Herbert and then he decided to return to school. I don't think anything happens from it. I do like his fit in Los Angeles. I think that's a very nice offense to give to a young QB. Obviously, you need to invest a little bit more in the offensive line. But when you look at Herbert, he's got very nice tools, one of the best arms in the class. He has nice mobility. And at 6'6", you may think, he's just another Paxton Lynch. But I think this guy has got one of the best zip on his throws that can fit into tight windows. And he has some incredible throws in terms of ball placement that I